So I've just made some soup as well. James was hungrier, he said, than just the sandwich. So I was going to mention Animal Misfits I enjoyed it a lot more than the octopus one that I reviewed earlier today. And I'll review the Bob's Burgers movie and talk more about the Quiet Epidemic. And then James is mostly going to talk
about whatever.
About whatever, because I don't think I can sit out for very long, because I've already been out and it's sore.
Yeah, she would have done a review while I was getting a treatment.
Yeah.
In the hospital, l'hôpital. It went well. It was always good to get a treatment. There's no guarantee I'd miss once because my immune system was too low. They are presumably treatments that are tough on the body, but the nice thing is they're tougher apparently on the bone marrow cancer. But, I like that.
So I didn't talk about, when I reviewed this last time, I didn't talk about that cute critter, and I didn't bring out the notes to know what he was. Kind of was some sort of a primate with the long finger. He was very cool.
Yeah, it was impressive.
There were a lot of things that I didn't talk about that. And but all of the animals that they featured were really cool in different ways. Yeah. And anyway, it's definitely worth watching. More than the octopus one, although I thought the octopus one was worth watching. The Bob's Burger movie. Well, I should start out by saying I don't like the Bob's Burger TV series. So I saw this on the return shelf and I thought, do I even bother? It's a 2022 movie and I actually enjoyed it. The animation was okay and there's a mystery. I like mysteries.
Yeah.
And there was music. It's a musical too, and I like musicals. So you never know. I didn't expect I would like it, and I did. The songs, the lyrics even kind of worked. The songs kind of worked.
It is tough, but you're realizing now how hard it is to get lyrics to work in music.
Yeah. And they were fun, and I mean, it's not serious, it's a cartoon, but they made it work. Anyway, back to the Quiet Epidemic, because last time I was talking about it, I ended off, I was mentioning how when people are suffering from chronic pain, they're being ignored by the medical system, they're desperate, or if you're suffering from anything and being ignored by the medical system, any kind of medical problem, you might get desperate and start trying all sorts of things. You want to be cured, and if the medical system's ignoring you, you might go elsewhere to look for cures. Anyway, so I touched a little bit on that in this, because I didn't mention it when I went through my notes, but there was a phone call that the father of the young lady who's featured on the back of this, who they believe she suffers from chronic Lyme. In any case, he'd said at first, when she first had problems, then the doctor was very helpful and was going through every test, like just testing for all sorts of things. What could this be? What could this be? And then finally, when he thought it might be Lyme, then all of a sudden the doctor was not helpful anymore. So eventually the medical system decided, oh well, it's all in this girl's head. It's a mental disorder. That's whatever.
And were you mentioning there were actual
Um,
physical symptoms?
And they had. Well, she was in a wheelchair. Her legs wouldn't work. There was all sorts of stuff like, um, they were showing her getting tests for things like blood pressure and whatever that was just crazy. Like her heart rate was not right, and then eventually she had brain scans, and it showed at the end her results of her brain scans and what they meant and stuff, and they showed no, it was not all in her head, or well, the brain is in the head, but she had physical problems. It wasn't mental. So this video might help people that way. It might help them go, look, this girl, she's going through what you're going through, or whatever. If you're having some doctor treat you like you're mental, when you know you have physical problems. But, and I mean, at one point, the dad and, well, I suppose parents in general, but the dad was the one who was he was really caring for the daughter, right? He was the one that was very determined to go all out, and I don't even remember seeing the mother in the video. But anyway.
She might just have been shy.
She might have been shy, or I don't know. But the video the phone call might have been to the whole family, like the daughter included, whatever. But there was a woman from the CDC who had called and was talking to the father, and he recorded it. At one point he decided, I'm going to start recording everything, and so he recorded the phone call and played it, and so the woman was from the CDC was saying, be careful of all of these, like basically she was saying the miracle cure kind of things. There's all sorts of people saying all sorts of things, that be careful of these things, right? And I felt for her, because I thought, here she is, maybe the government had her call, maybe she was a bureaucrat, whatever. But why? I mean, there'd be no reason. Maybe she was legitimately concerned for these people, and he was cutting her off and stuff and whatever. But I mean, I can see his side of it too, with, well, she's telling him, be careful of, trying these other options or whatever. But the medical community hasn't given them any other options, right? So I know I've went to the doctor in the past and gotten a test, and result comes back negative. We go, okay, well, I have these symptoms, so what else? I don't care if that comes back negative.
There's something there.
Something's there.
Mm-hmm.
So
you're just testing for the wrong thing.
What are we going to look for next? Mm-hmm. And it's like, and nothing happens, or whatever. It's frustrating, to say the least.
That's an understatement.
Yeah, I mean, here's James, an example of how a person can wait for a long time without treatment, and they're being called a hypochondriac by the medical community, and then it turns out it's very serious.
When they treat me like one,
yeah.
That's different.
Yeah.
When they're trying to feed you full of antidepressants and or Ativan.
Yeah.
How do I know I don't need those things? It's like what someone said to me. How come I'm the one who's depressed and you're the one who's dying?
Well, anyway.
I wasn't depressed when I was terminal, but they're trying to feed me through antidepressants.
Anyway.
What they were telling me, I'm going to have to write a poem about this.
Well, you will.
The chorus line is going to start up, shut up and drive. Because that's basically what the first chimp was doing. First chimp in a butcher's smock, pretending it's a lab suit. But eventually, was 2 guys. I was in the last stage of multiple myeloma, bone marrow cancer. 3rd stage. 4th stage, 6 feet under. And they were prescribing Ativan, and it was shut up and die.
Well,
Because they couldn't diagnose it. Talk about blaming the victim.
yeah. But a lot of the time, a lot of doctors, they're really arrogant. I'm not saying all.
A particular type of arrogant? Pretentious.
Yeah. A lot of them, if they don't know the answer, they can't accept the fact that they could not know the answer. They can't accept that. So you must be wrong somehow, because they can't possibly be wrong, right?
No.
So they know everything. They can't possibly be stumped in some way, or so it must be you.
So we ran across some nice people. Pauline was there, and they complimented her. We won't say where they're from or anything like that, but they complimented her on a song she was singing. They complimented me. What the woman said was, "You're like a dictionary." You know why I'm like a dictionary, folks? I didn't contest that. No, I'm not. Because it's, to a certain extent, true. I'm like several dictionaries, although just partial dictionaries. But I know a lot about a lot of, not a little about a lot of things. I'm not a dilettante. A lot about a lot of things. Now understand, I'm not really like a dictionary in the sense that I don't know everything from page to page. But why am I like a dictionary in that way? Because I accept I'm not like a dictionary in terms of being encyclopedic. I always keep learning. I always recognize, see, like I am arrogant when it comes to other people. Why? They don't know as much as I do. But the reason why I'm proud to be arrogant is because my arrogance is earned. I am humble before the universe. I know I hardly know anything and have to learn more, and that's why I know so much. Sorry for ranting. But that's the truth.
So given that, knowing that doctors, medical doctors, well, a lot of people in academia actually too, but not just medical doctors, but I'm just talking about medical doctors here. But anyway, given that a lot of medical doctors are not willing to accept the fact that they don't know something, so if they can't diagnose whatever you have
right away, they don't want to think about it. It's right? Just like, I can't figure anything out offhand, so
get rid of this person.
Yeah. Sometimes, as in my case, literally get rid of them.
Yeah.
It's a death penalty for having a condition that they can't diagnose right away. You know, with a snap of the fingers.
In the case of something like
it's a death
what
penalty
this
there.
young lady was going through, is probably still going through in this, and a lot of other people that were featured here probably. It's pain and, you know, surprises, new surprising symptoms all the time that they're having to deal with. And
surprise, surprise, there are long conditions. You know, really, shingles, and I've had them twice. It's kind of long, what is it, measles? Chicken pox. Long chicken pox. So you got to be ready for things to happen. You know, there's a certain type of plague that's been around where it's kind of, is there such a thing as this long plague? Yeah, there is. Just like there's long Lyme disease.
Yeah, so I don't know exactly what. Like, in the end, the medical community, I guess they pretty much decided, okay, well, there's no chronic Lyme. Okay. Well,
the medical community with a strong shove in the fannies from the And I'm meaning like a pat on the butt. Don't misinterpret that from the insurance companies. And to call them part of the medical community would be unfair.
Yeah, true. But anyway, one has to wonder what, if you keep an open mind about things, you think, okay, well, these people say they have these symptoms, and there are lab results that are showing that yes, they have physical problems wrong with them, and nothing seems to be like I was talking about the one woman who she demanded. I think she was a pediatric nurse, wasn't she? I can't remember. Oh yeah, Vicki Logan. So she wanted her spinal fluid tested, her spinal tap, and it turned out, yeah, it was full of spirochetes.
Oh,
so
wow.
I mean,
She
people
probably
are getting,
had to get down and beg to get that, right?
I don't know. But, oh, it looks like it's raining, so it looks like I'm gonna have to go in soon.
Yeah, you probably have to go in. It's not good for your back. I know.
I don't know. Mine's the lower back. It's different than yours. Mine's
Yeah,
different
when
than
rain
yours,
hits
so-
my upper back, it's jarring every time. Anyway, sorry.
No, that's okay. But I think, okay, well, with the spirochetes that cause the problem with Lyme disease in humans, and there's a lot of other tick-borne diseases too. I'm just, they happen to be talking about Lyme in this video, right? But there's other ones. So yesterday there was a tick that found James and wanted to get close
Come
and
a
personal.
little bit closer.
And so,
My kind of
which usually
human.
I'm the tick magnet, but he got one
I was
yesterday.
driving and he was
There he was,
trying to
crawling
crawl under
along.
my cuff.
But so that tick wouldn't have caused Lyme disease. It was a different kind of tick. It was bigger,
Presumably,
whatever. But
Rocky Mountain tick fever.
who knows? Which, right? It could have carried some other thing, and then like James was bit by a tick when he was a kid in Africa. Well, it was a different kind of tick, and
it burned.
something different. But
what's it called? Tick fever.
Yeah. So ticks transmitting things into people. So since this is just the spirochetes, they're talking about Lyme disease and spirochetes with this thing. So I'll say, well, what if, the ticks carry this spirochete, put that into the human body when they've latched on. Who's to say the spirochete isn't carrying diseases or a multitude of diseases or something?
I'm going
right?
to do reaction.
Like it could.
That's what we had a Chihuahua who loved sound. Every time he heard like Bruce Springsteen howling, or especially Axl Rose howling,
he was so cute.
And he wanted me to howl along with him. And boy, oh boy, you never would have thought 5.5 pounds could rock out that way.
He was a rock star.
Holy smokes. My dad almost died very, very early when he turned purple. Not the little Chihuahua.
And just
he was
laughing.
white.
Yep.
Yeah, my dad loved animals. And he loved laughing too. He was a bit like Edwin Gwynn, whatever his name was. And Mary Poppins is that. He sings, I love to laugh. My dad would just go on and on. And when Carla started rocking out, it was unannounced. His whole body would quiver with the. It was like a resonance. Oh, I miss Carla so much.
Or what if it's not that the spirochetes carry a bunch of diseases or whatever? What if just the fact that they're there, and you're picking up all sorts of diseases all the time that your body is fighting off from other things, but just the fact that your body has this thing in it, within your spinal fluid or whatever. Maybe when you're stressed out, that's your body is stressed out trying to. Your body can't possibly be expected to fight off so many things at once, and maybe that's the problem or whatever. I don't know.
What
But
people should be? Oh, sorry.
people are having a lot of. There's a lot of people, members of the public, that are saying this is happening, and they're being ignored, and one has to wonder why. And I was thinking, well, maybe, what if they know that there's a problem, but like the medical community knows that there's a problem. Not all of the medical community. A lot of them would just think it's just quackery or whatever. But what if some people in the know actually know that there's a problem, but they're thinking, well, we don't have a solution for this, so what can we do, right? We don't have a cure, so there's really nothing to do about it anyway. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, but I know that people really should talk about things so that we come closer to finding answers.
You've got to recognize there's a problem. This is the problem with Egyptian chronology. Here's someone writing in Cambridge Ancient History. Well, we've got to have some sort of chronology, so that's their argument for accepting the one that they've got now. No, you don't have to have a chronology. In the same way that you don't have to have a diagnosis. Oh, you're hypochondriacal, because that's the only way to explain it. You have got to recognize there's a problem, and then you go out and get a solution. So that's for individuals, but it's also for the condition. Pauline was talking about things hitching a ride. I am telling you now with HPV, it could be that the system is lowered, but the immune system, but this stuff occurs later.
I don't have
related
HPV.
No.
No, I just wanted to
I
put
might
that
have
out.
said something
No.
in the way I didn't want to say. But she will tell you, she was saying, things hitch a ride on other things. Who's to say that things aren't hitching a ride on that thing that's hitching the ride? That, I suspect, is what's happening with HPV and what is it, cervical cancer or stuff like that.
I don't know.
Cancer is hitching a ride. A cancer-causing agent is hitching a ride in the thing that causes the HPV. And it hangs around in the system and hangs around in the system and hangs around in the system. I am telling you, see, one of the things I got out of this was I was going, okay, I had tick fever when I was a kid. And I was thinking, okay, ticks hide, I'm willing to bet, or the spirochetes from the ticks, hide in the bone marrow. I was going, okay. And they were mentioning that. They found spirochetes in some, it was I believe it was the
You'll have to watch this for verification.
It would be the spinal
what
tap.
we're saying, 'cause
I've been through a spinal tap, right? Not fun, not recommended, but sometimes you need it. And yeah, sure enough, spirochetes in the bone marrow.
Spinal fluid.
Spinal fluid. Huh? So start checking that out, you guys walking around in lab coats that really are butcher's smocks. Start checking it out. And don't say, oh, that guy's way off in La La Land. I don't go off in La La Land. I wasn't when I was suffering from bone marrow cancer. I was the one that was right, and you medical professionals were wrong. Get it straight.
All right. So just before I go in, I'm going to mention one more thing. I had started talking about the woman who was talking to me about her daughter who has, she said her daughter had chronic Lyme. And they were trying all sorts of things to try to figure out how to cure it. Anyway, now one thing that her and her husband said is they believe that it's always been in, like, they were from up around Edmonton, I think, if I remember correctly. And in recent years, we've heard that now they've found there's the tick that causes Lyme disease in Edmonton, here in Canada.
But she was figuring
and
it was. It been
they were
around
figuring
earlier.
it's been there always. It's
Lord
always been
only
there.
knows how long.
And I don't know. Maybe that's the case. But
I think it's been there at least for a season. In other words, a summer season.
yeah, I mean,
Because
My-
ticks travel really well.
yeah.
I'm not talking about
And they were
the
talking
spirochetes.
about that in this. They were showing it with the birds, the ticks latching onto the birds and stuff like that. And,
Oh my God.
yeah,
And so they end up wherever the birds are.
wherever the birds would fly.
Well, some birds
But-
travel to the tropics and back up here.
Yeah. So, what I was wondering about is northern Alberta wasn't expected to be able to have these kind of ticks. It was too cold up there, but there are a lot of workers who travel from the east to work for the summers, or they even just they're hoping to get jobs in the summers in northern Alberta.
So they're traveling
A lot
from the
of the time
Atlantic
with the-
provinces.
With the oil companies and stuff like that, oil and gas, because there's a lot of jobs, and there's forestry jobs too up there. So it could be that people are hitchhiking across and the ticks are traveling on them, and then they end up living along the river bottoms of cities and stuff like that, and camping out because it's nice to camp along rivers, isn't it? Or creeks or streams or whatever. And then the ticks might get off there, and so they end up in the place for
Questing.
the summer. Just
Yeah, for the
they might
summer.
not live there a year
No.
round, but they might
Wouldn't
come
it
back
be?
every year because they're
They're being
hitching
imported.
a ride every year, right back in.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but it's important to think, okay, what are the possibilities, and is there any way of is this realistic or whatever, and then we come closer towards actually figuring things out rather than just shutting down. If we shut down communication, then nothing moves forward.
That's right. So do a test. Start off in Newfoundland with a tick in
I
the
don't know
container
if
in the
they
car.
live in Newfoundland. Do they? I don't think so.
Wherever. In the Maritime.
further south.
Start off in the Maritime.
Yeah.
New Brunswick, right next door to Maine. I'm sure they live there.
They'd be there.
Okay, start. See how far those ticks go. We went from riding Mountain Park in Manitoba.
Yeah.
And it came across one full province, a province called Saskatchewan, in case
Yeah,
you're
they were hanging out in the car.
And they were hanging out in the car.
Yeah, and we vacuumed the car out when we got back, clean out the car after the trip.
I found at least one, live as can be, about
Might
as
have
live
actually
as the
got
Rolling
more.
Stones used to be before the drugs started kicking in. Live and kicking. Or questing, I should say. He didn't have any grass to quest on.
No.
But he believe me, if he latched onto one of us for long enough, we'd have had tick fever. Yeah.
Or
The
something,
thing,
right?
how long did it take? It took a substantial part of a day. I'm willing to bet that do a little test. Get together with NASA. Find out if you could. I think it takes a few days to get to the
You
moon.
could probably
Find out if you
send
could
them
take
to the
a
moon
tick
back.
to the moon. Oh, you didn't catch tick fever on the moon. Yeah, it's possible if it got inside someone's suit.
So anyway.
Now that is science fact. Riding Mountain Park in Manitoba. Yes, it's in the western part of Manitoba. But Lethbridge is not in the eastern part of Alberta. It went across basically a province and a half.